Geologists say that underwater volcanoes by the thousands, possibly millions, remain undiscovered. The world is watching volcanoes erupting, quite a few. Well, one of the island volcanoes in the Canary Islands, La Palma, is still erupting. That's one of the new islands of the Canary Islands. We have Kilauea erupting, and Japan volcanoes erupting. Besides the fact that we have the Mount Erebus in Antarctica erupting. So the world is watching, and it's sober to think that there may be hundreds of others going off, almost certainly ones we don't even know about. The article is the Bali volcano making us warmer or cooler, by William Jasper, reminds us of Ian Plimmer's words about there being squillions of undersea volcanoes. He says, so I found a paper of 2007 by Hillier that tried to count them. Trying being the appropriate word. Volcanoes are biggish things, but when they're under 1 or 2 kilometers of water, they're harder to hear, harder to see. And by Cricky, we know more about the moon than the bottom of the Mariana Trench, and it's only 11 kilometers away. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. People are constantly discovering new volcanoes, like a 3,000 meter one off Indonesia that no one realized was there until 2010. And it turns out the second largest volcano in the solar system is apparently not on Io, but 1,000 miles east of Japan. It's the size of the British Isles. But who knew? This is a new discovery, 2010. A few months ago, a team found 91 volcanoes under Antarctica. That's in addition to the 47 that were supposedly there. So it's a tremendous amount of new volcanoes being discovered. And it's getting serious. Someone should talk about this to, people concerning lava. Now, not only can we not predict when volcanoes will erupt, we don't even know how many there are. The scope of our ignorance on the seafloor is really something. There are 1,500 active volcanoes on land, but on the seafloor, we are still discovering them all the time. At least 39,000 of them rise 1 kilometer off the seafloor, but there are suspicions there might be up to 3 million. The Helpers paper estimates that 24,000 submarine volcanoes were not yet discovered in the year 2007. The Wikipedia is trying to list them. Well, good luck to that. Does hot magma leaking into the oceans that we have not measured yet and don't know about change the currents? Well, of course, logically would change the currents, the temperature, and eventually our weather. We know this is happening on the west coast of Antarctica, where Mount Erebus is, and various volcanoes that are erupting underneath the ice sheets are melting the ice sheets. So, obviously, the volcanoes that are undersea, which we can't see, and if they're erupting, of course it would heat up the water, changing water currents. So they would change the currents, temperature, eventually our weather. If it's a bit hotter at one end of a trench than the other, does the water flow alter? Has the big ball of magma got anything to do with ENSO, AMO, long-term trends? So your guess is better than global climate model. Now, we don't know if there's any chance that the Indonesian volcano will be warming the world, but undersea volcanoes are releasing a lot of greenhouse gases. Now, William Fraser Jasper says many of the undersea volcanoes are regularly oozing molten lava, as well as carbon dioxide, methane, and other gases that are regularly emitted by volcanoes. In addition, there are untold thousands, perhaps millions of undersea vents that are regularly discharging gases, oil, and tar. Last year, researchers found hundreds of new vents along the west coast of the United States, also on the East Coast, the methane plumes that we know of. Scientists found 500 seabed vents bubbling methane into the Pacific Ocean off the United States, roughly double the number of known U.S. seeps of powerful greenhouse gas. This is according to 2016 October 19 Reuters report. Methane naturally escapes from the seafloor in many places around the world and can stoke global warming if it reaches the atmosphere, Reuters said. Worldwide scientists are trying to see if rising ocean temperatures cause more leaks. It appears that the entire coast of Washington, Oregon, and California is a giant methane seep, according to Robert Ballard, who is famed for finding the wreck of the Titanic and has now discovered the 500 new seeps. In a statement, he says, the discoveries double to about 1,000 the number of such vents now known to exist along the continental margins of the United States, his statement said. Supervolcanoes might happen more often than we thought. As it happens, a new study came out showing the next big one may be sooner than we think, though we have no idea when, but we used to think they were 45,000, 700,000 years apart, but now some new researchers think that the new best guess is somewhere from 5,000 to 48,000 years. If the big one goes off, forget carbon, forget climate, forget the whole continent. Jonathan Rogier, professor of statistical science, said the best guess value is 17,000 years. According to geological records, the two most recent supereruptions were between 20 and 30,000 years ago. A good professor is careful to keep politically correct priorities in order. On that basis, Professor Rogier says there is little need to plan for how a supereruption, especially with many other pressing issues to address, which will affect the current and the next generations of humans. So if you like, you can read this. There's more footnotes here. I'll leave a link below for you for this. This is on Bended Reality by Joanna Nova. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support.